chat and maximize and chat maximize. Okay, alrighty. Testing, 1, 2, 3, testing. Oh man. Woo, Lord, so much going on, so many topics. Well, I guess there's quite a few topics, but I think it's more so the fact that I didn't do anything, but we discovered the whole Steam discussion thing. I didn't know that was a thing. I've actually, whenever I play video games on Steam, I actually never go to the discussions. I just start playing the video game, and so I didn't know that was actually a thing. And so now I there's like a million questions in there. So so that was actually happening. So yeah, it's been crazy. This is not sponsored, so let me remove that. That's just something that just showed up. Alrighty, let's get it popping. Let's get it popping and cracking. Tech Tuesday in effect. We do have a product to actually take a look at today. So hi, how you doing? How you be? Top to the AB, and we we don't exactly play video games. We troubleshoot other people having problems with their video games. It's like the whole Dexter scenario. We're a serial killer. We're essentially a gamers who troubleshoot video games for others, because we like those warm and tinglies when we help people, and essentially what we like to do is troubleshoot just about any issue. So if you do have an issue, be sure to let us know in chat and we can be with you as soon as humanly possible. My name is Anthony. Everybody calls me TheOpenForum. That's my gamer tag. In most games, I think either OpenForum or TheOpenForum. It really kind of depends on the situation, but that's usually my gamer tag. And so, yeah, we can go ahead and get started here. And I actually wanted to start off with something a little bit more interesting, because essentially I have this this gigantic computer case that just came in, and I wanted to take a look at it here. So let's go ahead and get started here. Give me 1 second here. Let me make sure everything is good. Everything looks good, but you know how it is sometimes. It can be difficult. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that looks good. That looks good. Whatever. I'm not about to waste time on that again. Alrighty here. Let's go ahead and get started here. So let's do that, and that. Cool. Alrighty. Let me see if I have this. I'm sorry. I'm just moving this over here so I can see. Alrighty, let's do this. Okay, so can y'all even see me? Yes, you can. Hold on, let me move this over. Preview. Not screenshot. Yeah, this is what I wanted. Maximize. Okay. Alrighty. That is actually kind of hard for people to see, but well, this isn't hard for people to see. So get my head in the actual shot. This is a gigantic box. It was bigger than I thought it would be, because this is an ITX. It's supposed to be for an ITX build, but one thing led to another, and now it's not. So, well, okay. So to be fair, is it an ITX build? Yes, but it. Hold on 1 second there. I just hear something in the background here. At the tone, please record your message. Okay, I don't know what just happened there, but apparently my my iPad just started dialing people randomly. I don't even know that was a thing. So anyway, this is a Jonesboro VR3. This is a mini ITX case, but apparently the box it comes in is gigantic. It says that it's SFX and ATX, which is weird because it shouldn't be. It should just be ITX. but we'll go ahead and take it apart and take a look at it just to see what's going on with this guy. But it's supposed to be for an ITX build, but it literally says, okay, so I think it's just talking about the fans, the actual fan layout, because it's actually in a different language, and I'm just kind of reading into it here. So let me go ahead and open this guy. Okay, Anthony. Okay, obviously I'm not the best when it comes to knives. Oh, there we go. And there we go. Alrighty. Wow. Pieces of cardboard on my knife. Okay, so I don't know how to close a knife. Alrighty, so let's take a look at this guy here. Oh, God. Okay. Okay, so that's your... Oh, yeah, I can't even see that. It's too big. Okay, let me just move it off to the side here and just pull it out. Okay. Now you guys can see me. There we go. Here, let me do this a little bit. Actually, no, I really don't want to do that because that's in the way now. Yeah, there we go. Get everything out of the shot. Do I need to come down a little bit? There we go. Okay, so in the box, you get whatever this is. This is... Okay, so this is going to be all your cables, power supply, extender, bracket, and some zip ties. Oh, wow. This actually looks pretty fancy. It actually has some washers for your screws there, too. Nice. And it even has a nice little badge. It looks like it's magnetic. So let's go ahead and put this back in here. Cables and whatnot. Okay. And, oh, okay, cool. So this is a PCIe 4 extender cable, and if you can see, it's actually a right angle. So this particular case here has to have it set as a right angle for the PCIe extender, and this actually just comes directly just like this. So it's not actually in the actual case itself. And what do we have here? Okay, so this is the manual on how to set everything up, and essentially you can take it out of the case and troubleshoot it that way or set it up that way. And let's go. Oh. Okay, this isn't gonna be as... Oh, okay, my bad. I guess it is gonna be pretty easy. Okay. Okay. Oh God. I don't have the nails for this. Okay. Okay, that's way smaller. So let's... Ooh. Okay, this is kind of clean, I ain't gonna lie. Okay. So, first thing I thought when I saw this was, this is totally the Meshalicious. And I was like, man, this is nothing but a Meshalicious case. But if you look, this is way bigger than the Meshalicious. Meshalicious is actually right below me. So this guy here, if you can take a look there, scoot over. There we go. So it's actually way bigger. This is actually a 14, man. This thing is huge. Huge. Actually, let me flip it around this way. That way everybody can see it properly. There we go. So it can fit a pretty nice size power supply. I thought it can fit up to an ATX power supply, but I just wanted to be sure. Okay, so this guy can fit up to, well, there's no up to, but this guy can fit an SFX power supply. I was actually kind of curious because of how big it is. It makes me think that it could actually fit a full-size ATX or at least an SFX-L, but it only says SFX in the manual, so we'll just go with that. And essentially, it can also fit a mini ITX case. Now, what the party trick that this guy has is the top lid, if I remove that there. So if you look, it actually has room for the newest graphics cards. According to them, it can actually fit the Gigabyte, which is 335 millimeters, so the Gigabyte RTX 4090, which is a gigantic card, and it allows the Gigabyte to actually have room and for you to have cables towards the top, whereas the Meshalicious by default, it doesn't give you that option. So by default, it is very difficult on Meshalicious to do something like that. And there we go. So it's zooming in on that and not on my face, but yeah, so the Meshalicious is a little bit more difficult to actually have a gigabyte in there, and it basically puts a situation where you actually have to turn it upside down. But with this one here, it essentially stops that, but it's a much bigger case. If you look, this guy is massive. Let's go ahead and see if we can open it up here so we can take a look at it on the inside. So let's see here. Let me find my screwdriver. Okay, this is about to be the saddest review of a product ever if I don't have my screwdriver kit. Where is my screwdriver kit? Is it next to me? Like, what did I do with it? Well, that's different to not have that on you. It's only that one screw too. Where'd it go? Now I'm literally looking for my screwdriver kit. It appears that it is missing. Oh, here, well, let's do this. Okay, so actually, you know what? It's only one screw. I might be able to just do it this way. Or not. This is sad. This is sad. Okay, you know what? Let me go find my screwdriver kit. It should have been right here, but apparently I have moved it or misplaced it. I will be right back here. Of course, it turns out it is right next to me. Okay, let's do this. All right, let's open this bad boy up and let's see exactly what's inside here and how it's configured. There we go. Wow, that is some hefty metal. Okay, well, now I see why they have those washers. So, can you just pick this up, or how does this work? Exactly. Oh, it's a whole thing, so you can't just... Oh, I see. All right, so it slides out, and in order for you to make it slide out, you just have to remove these two pieces. It looks like that to be the case, but well, I guess we're about to find out here. Where else is it connected? Okay. Okay, so I removed the top there to see if we can actually... Well, what are you connected by? Okay, well, this is different. Something is holding it in place. Oh, okay, so there may be a little latch right here that's holding it right here. I guess it's not really a latch, it's just a screw. There we go. All right, so it appears this guy just comes out. There we go. So the outer shell is like this. So it's basically exactly like the Meshify, so it can get Meshify, the Meshroom S and the Meshalicious. So it essentially can get a ton of room here with the outer shell, but the inner shell is pretty straightforward. So it looks like we have room for the ITX motherboard right here. We have this, essentially is for multiple 2.5-inch SSDs right there. And then we have room for the power supply. And I stand by what I said. It says SFX power supply, but it looks like it can fit up to an SFXL. The radiator slot here is going to be 240 millimeters. It's very roomy. So that is actually pretty exciting here. But when we flip it over and we look at the we flip it over and we look at the GPU here, we can actually see that this is the small orientation. At least that's what I was told. This is for a small orientation of the GPU. As you can see, it can fit up to a 3 slot. However, you can actually unscrew this and screw it up into this top slot for longer cards. Why are there motherboard standoffs on this side? That's kind of interesting. These right here. I wonder why they're there. That's kind of interesting. But let me, let's go ahead and slide this up here so we can measure. Because essentially the way they said it, it's supposed to fit up to a 340 millimeter GPU. The Gigabyte and the Asus are somewhere around the 330 millimeter mark or 335 millimeter mark. So it should be able to accommodate those two guys very inefficiently. Wow, Anthony, very efficiently, according to the documentation. And actually, I needed more than just the documentation because it seemed like I was a little worried that this may not work because the graphics cards are so big and this has been out longer than the 4090. But it appears that in other videos, this guy works just fine. So let's go ahead and put the screw in. And so we can take a look here and measure. There we go. Alrighty, here and here. Alrighty, so with this, we're supposed to have enough space for a 335 millimeter graphics card, which should fit. I mean, this is a pretty good amount of space. The only thing that concerns me is that when you have this hooked up, it is, so if you look at the top here, there we go. There is a bit of indentation here. So if you look at the graphics card, it's actually going to be right here and all your ports are going to be right here. So from here to here is the amount of space that you have for your HDMI displays, so on and so forth. So it appears that it is a possibility that you might be able to do with a standard HDMI or display, but 9 times out of 10, this guy looks like it's going to be a longer, like a right angle display or HDMI cable in order for it to actually fit. And I don't think I have enough. I think I only have like maybe 2 or 3 display connectors that actually extend like that. But also whenever you run some of those, it actually starts to affect the frame rate. Like if you have a 2K 240 or 4K 240, those tend to have problems because of the right angle bracket. You have to have a right angle bracket that would actually work for those. So this is a little bit more interesting of a setup, but it appears that you might be able to just bend the cable and then just be able to put the lid back on. Because if we look at the lid, right here. So if we look at the lid actually, well, okay, so it's not in the case, but the lid essentially kind of pushes it down a little bit, and it's also quite heavy. So I think the lid is more meant to make sure that the cables themselves don't actually bow outside of the case. So I'm actually, over the weekend, I have plans on, focus on me, I have plans on moving my rig over to this guy here and seeing if that's a little bit better. There's also a modded for the Meshalicious. There is a modded bottom. I can try that as well to see if that will work too. The modded bottom makes it so that I don't have to flip it upside down in order for it to actually have all my inputs, because that's kind of annoying. Basically, it prevents it from being on my desk because all the cables are kind of sticking out, and then I would have to turn it upside down, and there's a possibility that the power button could be hit whenever it's upside down. So either A, I do the modded part, or B, I go with this guy here. But going with this guy here, I need like 8 right angle brackets because I actually run 4 monitors, one of them being the chat and then the other one being the lab. So, and then I have 2 monitors whenever we do our work. So yeah, we'll see how it goes, but it's still a pretty interesting build. It's a pretty decent, well, it's a pretty big size case to fit everything that you want without everything getting in the way. I feel like the Meshalicious is a bit more mushed together with everything, but at the same time it still has decent cooling because I never really had cooling issues with the Meshalicious. So over time, for me, the Meshalicious has kind of done everything that I needed it to do. But we will see if this is a better configuration, because obviously with this one here, you can't have this hard drive bay if we're talking about making it go to 335 millimeters, but this looks like it can fit the graphics card no problem. This is actually bigger than the Meshalicious, so it'll be interesting to see exactly what ends up happening here. This is only USB 3. There is no, oh, well, that's annoying. So the reason why that's annoying is because it appears that the USB Type-C and the USB 3 here at the top, they share the same plug, which means that they're going to be USB 3 5 gigabits per second. So this right here isn't its own plug. That actually is a big deal breaker. This right here, so if you look, these 2 cables, actually connect. So they actually connect into one USB 3 header. They don't separate and go into a USB-C type 2 10 gigabits per second header. They're going to use the exact same one, which is going to be at 5 gigabits per second. It's better when they're separated and you have one that uses the USB 3 at 5 gigabits per second and another one that uses 10 gigabits per second, because I actually use that USB-C port, and to actually only use it at 5 gigabits per second makes me think that it's going to have issues with our cameras. So that is a definitive bummer. I did not know. I thought that they were separated, but it appears that in this particular model here, they are not. So the big thing about the Mesh, well, I guess it's not a big thing, I just now noticed it just now, is that the Meshalicious has the USB 3 header, but it also has the USB-C header, which is going to be that little rectangular one. It has both. This one does not. So I'm not crazy about this. That knowing that really annoys me. And I don't even know if I want to build it anymore, because if I do, then I lose that USB-C port that I really wanted that's at 10 gigabits per second, because that guy right there, you can actually, essentially what it means is that you can use it to hook it up to an external GPU, and all my other USB-C ports in the back are already utilized because it's an ITX build. So generally with ITX builds, especially when you run setups like this where you have multiple ITX builds, or you have multiple cameras and studio equipment and stuff like that, that you all have hooked up to USB, it utilizes all of my ports, and I even utilize the USB-C port because of the speed. But having to take this down to USB 3 and they basically being shared, well, I'm sorry, USB 3, but 5 gigabits per second, but having to take it down and they be shared is really, really, really bad. I did not know this case did that. So now I have to make the compromise. Do I want to essentially lose the USB C 10 gigabits per second and share it with the USB 3, or do I want to just stay with the Meshalicious? So that is bad. I did not know that. I did not know that it was shared like that. Well, that sucks. That's a big, big bummer. So we'll see how this goes. I'll take a look at this a little bit later, but we can go ahead and get started on helping people here. So let me go ahead and move this back and we can get going. I'll have to figure this out over the weekend. I don't know how I'm gonna go about it. I didn't know that that was a thing here, but apparently it is a thing that is only using that one USB 3 header. So yeah, I'll work on it, but let's go ahead and get to helping people. Alrighty. Let's do that and get up and chat. Oh, okay. Alrighty. Alrighty here. So yeah, that was very unfortunate. So let's go ahead and do this here and make sure everybody can hear me. Everybody can hear me fine. So yeah, that's what I noticed on that guy here. I didn't know that that was a thing there with that guy, that it essentially, it's not, that sucks. Oh, that sucks. That front panel header really, really sucks. I didn't know that that was a thing, but apparently it is. So yeah, we'll just keep it on pushing, keep on moving here, and let's actually get to helping people here. So let me, okay, you should be charged, so I should be able to just push you right here. I literally have an external GPU here, even though I don't have an eGPU in it. I actually have just a PCIe video card, a capture card inside, and I was using that instead. So that's the reason why I wanted to swap to it, so I can get a little bit more space. But we'll see. I'll think about it. It's a lot to think about, but we'll see what happens. But in any event, let's go ahead and get to helping people here. Okay, let me check a few things here. I think everything is good, but let me check some stuff here. Okay, cool. Alrighty, here, let's go ahead and get started. Alrighty, so group one. Okay, so here we have, this is from Logsies, FPS drop until Alt-Tab. Hello, I boot up a game and it runs normally with constant high FPS, but after 5 minutes or so, the FPS drops like a rock. It says the same until I alt tab out and back into the game. It instantly revives the FPS if I do this. I'm looking for help because this constantly happens and I'm getting tired of alt tabbing in and out every 5 minutes. I've already tried changing the driver version for NVIDIA and even clean installation with DDU. Since this is a laptop, I couldn't increase the fan speed manually if it was a heat issue, but I'm pretty sure it isn't, because even Skyrim, which barely heats up my laptop, is getting frame drops every 5 minutes. Any help would be greatly appreciated. Thanks in advance. Hello. Yes. Do you run your games in full screen or windowed mode? If you run in windowed, change to full screen and vice versa to see if it makes a difference. And what game, I wonder, is he talking about here? What game are you? Well, he says he has an issue in all games. So also, what are the specs of the laptop you are using? Let's see if we want anything else on that. So we need to know the specs of the laptop so we can figure out exactly what GPU he has and whether or not he has like an older GPU or 20 series graphics card or something along those lines. And then we also need to know if he's running in full screen or windowed, and you know, because he has to alt tab out, but you can alt tab out on full screen or windowed. So it really kind of just depends on the situation. So just to see, make sure there's no bugginess with it, we kind of need to know that. And let's see if there's anything else we want to know. I think that's about it. There's not a whole lot more to say about this guy. There's not enough information to go off of for us to actually troubleshoot. But if your FPS is dropping and it's causing you to alt tab out, then typically that means that one, he's right, he may be having a driver issue, but two, it's a possibility that, you know, there may just be some errors with. Oh, okay. When you think about that, it really kind of just points to driver issue or software issue or the GPU, really, if it's actually going slow, unless, you know, there's some bugginess with it being in windowed or full screen and it wanting to be in full screen mode, or the game. It's like, this happens a lot with like games. Like, for example, if your monitor is 4K and you run your games at 2K, that's usually when I notice that kind of a situation where the frame rate kind of starts to have problems, because the resolutions between the actual screen and the actual game are different. And on top of that, you have it in windowed mode and not full screen. That's usually where I run into these kind of situations, but I guess we'll go ahead and post it like that with a few probing questions, and then we'll come back to them and take a look. Oh, let me get something to drink here. Okay, good stuff. I'm ready. All right, let's go ahead and go to our next group here. 731. Okay, cool. It's pretty. Oh my God. There is an unmanaged switch in there somewhere. Can you fix it? Unmanaged switch. Okay, I like Where's Waldo. Let's see if we can find it. Yeah, right. It's right here. Why is this so hard? I don't see the problem here. That's the unmanaged switch is right there. I mean, there's cables everywhere, sure, but the unmanaged switch is literally just right here. But why would you need, I mean, if it's an unmanaged switch, then it doesn't really have a whole lot of options, but okay, sure. That's it right there, though. Okay, well, I mean, I'm really good at Where's Waldo, so, but yes, it looks like pasta. It looks like pasta. Cool. But yeah, you're gonna, okay, well, you're not gonna run into this. It's not this bad, at least. But at least they do have some tagging on it, so people kind of know. Well, okay, I thought there was some tagging. There is. Okay, yeah, there's some tagging here and here. So there is a little bit of tagging. So they tried, but they just kind of gave up halfway through. And they were like, okay, this isn't my job. Okay, bye. Some intern is going to have a horrible time with that. But, you know, yeah, that just hurts my eyes. Does anybody have anything that's funny? Sure, let me get some scissors. This picture gets better every time you look at it. There is a floating power switch up top and twisted cap cables all across the bottom right. Yeah, all the twisted cables here, and then the unmanaged switches right here. That power switch is just chef's kiss. There was a power switch? Where's the power switch? I wasn't look. Oh, okay. Is that it up there somewhere? I can't really tell. All I see is spaghettis. What does this say? Spare me? Spare AKC or whatever? Okay. Yeah, that's a lot, man. Y'all, somebody gonna have to clean that, and it's not gonna be me. All right, let's go ahead and go to the next one here. Okay. This is from Delzep. Delzep writes, my Windows 10 PC will only connect to my phone's portable hotspot when it's set to 2.4 gig and not 5 gig. My Windows 10 PC will only connect to my phone's portable hotspot when it's set to 2.4 gig, not 5 gig. I am using TP-Link AC1900 Archer T9UH adapter in my PC, and I can connect to my Wi-Fi router, which is 5 gigs, but not my phone on 5 gigs. Also, my Xbox Series X connects to my phone's portable hotspot no problem for high-speed downloads, 150 megabits per second plus, which I am guessing is 5 gig. Yeah, more than likely. So basically, my phone can broadcast its portable hotspot on 5G, and my PC can pick up my home Wi-Fi on 5 gig. Yet they won't connect to each other, but they do connect on 2.4. I have reinstalled Windows and have also installed a custom ROM on my phone, but it did not work either before when I had the stock ROM or after custom ROM, which is Android 13 GSI. Any ideas? Yeah. Okay. Well, okay. On iPhones, you have the ability to go in what's called compatibility mode, which allows you to essentially make it more compatible to older devices. But this guy here, I am using a TP-Link AC1900 Archer T. Okay, adapter. Okay. Let's look this guy up here. Okay, so Archer T9UH AC1900 high gain dual band USB 3. Okay, it does have support for the 2.4 and 5 gig connectivity as well as wireless AC. Backwards compatibility. So the first thing we'll say is check to see if there are any drivers. So support. Okay, and there are a lot. So let's go ahead and link this for him. And let's come back here. So first thing I would say is make sure the USB dongle is on the most up-to-date version. You can find that here. Next, I would say it doesn't see his hotspot. Next, okay. Well, I don't have the hotspot features on my Android, so let's see here if the settings are actually here, and then I can show you guys so that we can kind of take a look at it together. If it does have that option, connections, Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, mobile networks, mobile hotspot and tethering. Okay, so if we turn on mobile hotspot, wow, it almost died when I tried to do that. Okay. Auto hotspot, no devices, configure, bandwidth, advanced, max connections, power saving, Wi-Fi sharing, enhance security on your mobile hotspot. What I'm looking at is, I can show you. It doesn't show anything. Well, okay. It shows a few things bad. So yeah, once you turn on the mobile hotspot here, let me actually come back. So essentially on the screen here, you can turn on the mobile hotspot tethering for the Galaxies, and that's what he has. He has an Android 13. So once you turn on the hotspot, if you go into the settings here, you can actually start to work on it. So if we go back to the hotspot and tethering here and we click on it, you can actually click on it and then you go to configure. And then when you go to configure here, there is an advanced tab, which is towards the bottom here. And you can say, okay, let me make sure that doesn't have anything bad. No. Okay, so right here. Oh, there we go. So configure mobile hotspot, you can choose between 2.4 and 5 gig. And if you look there, there is an advanced section there that actually does have some options. Oops, sorry. That has some options there. There we go. Focus. Okay. it helps if I wasn't sliding it. There you go. So you have power saving mode, broadcast, so on and so forth. So broadcast the network name, SSID, protected management frames, enhance security on your mobile hotspot. This may prevent some older devices from connecting. So we want to make sure that protected management frames is turned off. Wi-Fi sharing, this will always be kept on if auto hotspot is on, and power saving mode. So make sure that protected management frames and power saving modes are turned off. By default, they are, but we just want to be thorough here. Next, I would say go to the settings of your hotspot by clicking on it. What just happened? I heard, oh, my phone is right here. Sorry. Let me turn this down a little bit. Sorry about that. So next I would say go to the settings of your hotspot by clicking on it. Then go down to advanced and make sure protected management frames is turned off, as well as power saving mode is off. And see if that resolves the issue. Let us know if it doesn't. Alrighty. So yeah, I've actually, so the reason why I never had this guy set up as a hotspot is because even back when it was my primary phone, this guy here, it was 4G. And so even if it was your hotspot, it was super slow. So I had to find a phone that actually supported 5G and use that as my hotspot. And that's what moved me over to Apple. Plus I wanted to have one Apple, one Android, so I can troubleshoot both issues. So that's what I would do for this one here. I would just, check the settings and make sure that the protected management frames is turned off, as well as power saving mode, as well as downloading the most up-to-date version of the driver software. Let us know if you've already done all those, and then we can continue on, but we have to be thorough and say it. So let's go ahead and move on to our next one here. Okay. Fried my PSU, other parts still good. Okay, I'm down. I like the name too. I can actually say it without getting demonetized. Internet Visa. Fried my PSU, other parts still good. Question mark. This morning while on my computer playing Red Dead Redemption 2? I'm thinking you're missing an R, bro. But I think you mean Red Dead Redemption 2. When I hear a loud pop followed by a burning chemical-like smell, for those of you who are not aware, whenever you hear a loud pop, it means that your power supply has exploded. This happens a lot when you're overutilizing the power, or not necessarily overutilizing it, but it's just after a certain amount of time. And whenever it pops and you start to smell that smoke a little bit, then yeah, your power supply is done for. This happens a lot with mining builds. Like I've had this happen maybe twice, and it scares the hell out of you every single time, because that pop is super loud, it is super noticeable, and that smell is also very, very noticeable. But yeah, all you have to do is just replace the power supply, the actual supply itself, keep the cables, and everything is usually just fine. I didn't see smoke, but after inspecting my computer, the smell was indeed coming from the power supply. I've already determined that this was most likely caused by a bug, specifically roaches, which my apartment cannot seem to get rid of. After taking it out to get a better look is when I first noticed them inside the PSU itself. By the way, the PSU is an EVGA G3 650-watt gold. Ugh. As disgusting as that is, I'm more so worried about the other components in my build. I have a 3060 RTX GPU, which would kill me if I had to replace it. I know I won't be certain what works and what doesn't until I get a new PSU in, but if the computer turned off immediately after it popped, are my chances good? Motherboard ASRock B550 Pro. Thank you. Any help is appreciated. Jesus Christ. Oh, okay. Outside of a flamethrower, yeah, you're fine, bro. Typically you are fine. Most of the time when the power supply blows, the other components are not affected, as the power supply typically has overvolt protection turned on, so the other components don't get damaged. But you will know more when you swap it out. Also, be sure to keep your PC off the ground. Should help with the bug problem. Ooh, Lord. So the only all right. So the only real reason why you run into situations where you have people who have bugs in their computers is either A, it's very easy to get access to. In other words, it's on something like a table or countertop, a floor, stuff like that. Or the reason why bugs are attracted to it is not necessarily because of the components in it, it's because of how warm it is and the actual temperature. It can attract that kind of a situation. Let me make sure my job isn't calling me here. No, it's not. Okay. So yeah, if you run into that situation, that's actually what's happening here, is that they're going to it because of how warm it is. And typically bugs tend to go into indoor areas whenever it gets cold outside. So Jesus Christ, man. Oh, that's a lot. But yeah, you can also try a flamethrower. So that is definitely a thing, but Jesus. Oh, wow, man. But we still gotta help him. Still gotta help him. I mean, it's not like that. This is stopping us from helping him. It's just, oh Lord, that's pretty bad, bro. Try to keep your laptop as high as humanly possible, and maybe that will help you. And yeah, keep us posted if this doesn't work. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. Let's go ahead and go to the next one here. All right, so this is from the One Ultimate Gamer. And the One Ultimate Gamer writes, having difficulty charging my phone after dropping and throwing it a few times. You know, you got to stop throwing your phones at people. That's not a good idea. You can't throw your phone and then get mad when it doesn't want to work or your screen is cracked. I dropped my phone a few times, may or may not also threw it a few times. That darn dog of mine, that being a Galaxy A71. And now it won't charge normally. I have to smack it against a wall carefully, obviously. Now you say obviously, and sometimes multiple smacks are required for it to charge again. It's like the Nintendo all over again. There's no issues with my charger or anything like that. Just wondering if this sounds like something easily home repaired, like something coming loose, or if it sounds like you should just get it professionally repaired. Side note, I got a piece of toothpick stuck in the SD card slot opener. Bully me if you want. So that might be an issue in opening the phone. No bullies here. No bullies here, bro. You're in a tech support forum, which means you're surrounded by nerds. the exact opposite of bullies. LOL. Nobody's gonna bully you, man. You're in a tech forum. Like, come on now. And now, of course, like if you start talking about Star Wars when you really mean Star Trek, yeah, you're gonna get bullied, but that's about the extent of it. It's like okay, you're gonna get insulted by the guests of like the cast of Big Bang Theory. Like, what's the worst they can do? You know, just talk about your knowledge on a particular subject. But anyway, it's the Samsung Galaxy A71. What I wanted to look up is I wanted to see if it had wireless charging. Wireless charging. Have wireless. It's a great phone with it. Blah blah blah. I don't need to see. How to charge your Galaxy A71? How to wirelessly charge your Galaxy A71? Okay.
So to do that, of course, you're going to need your Galaxy A71, and you're going to need a wireless.
Okay, he's actually saying something here. Let me get where's my headset? Okay, I don't have my headset, which means that it is in another room, and I'm not getting up and I'm not pausing it. So whatever, y'all can hear it, and I can't.
So here
That's
we have
fine.
our Samsung fast wireless
So
charger. It doesn't have to be Now for your wireless charger receiver,
Wireless charging
you're going to need a
receiver.
Type C because that's
So
what your charging port is on your Galaxy
okay, I
A71.
see. So
And just to show
basically,
you
is
what
a
it looks
wireless
like,
charging receiver. So that
I'm
means
going
the
to pull it
device
out real
itself doesn't
quick.
actually charge.
Now it
Yeah,
doesn't
he's
really
actually
matter
using
if
a
it's a
receiver
brand
to make
name
it
with the
work
brand
with
name
his wireless
ID, but
Qi
just the
charging.
main thing is that it
And
is Type C.
essentially, let's see.
And so this is what it looks
So
like. It looks
basically,
like a
he
little
plugs it
pad here,
into a
and the
port,
port,
a
there's a little
USB-C
pin at the
port,
bottom,
and
a
that
little
basically
ribbon
makes it
with
so
a
that
little
it's
pin at
charging.
the
So
bottom.
yeah, it doesn't. All right, so that's what we needed to know. So if we come back here, no bullies here, bro. The exact opposite of bullies, LOL. But for your issue, it sounds like the USB-C port is on the verge of going out. More than likely, it would need to be repaired. More than likely, it would need to be repaired. And this phone, unfortunately, does not support wireless charging. Yeah. So no bullies here, bro. No bullies here, bro. You're in a tech support forum, which means you're surrounded by nerds, the exact opposite of bullies. But for your issue, it sounds like the USB-C port is on the verge of going out. More than likely, it would need to be repaired, and this phone, unfortunately, does not support wireless charging. So yeah, there's not a whole lot you can say on this one here. You know, if it doesn't have wireless charging, you really are limited on the options that you have, especially if we're talking about a phone that has been beat up and thrown around a bit. Generally, when that happens, your USB-C port is going to suffer the consequences. And then on top of that, your SD card slot is also not having a good time either. But at the same time, you're not the first person that tried to put a toothpick in a SD card slot in order to get it out and then got it stuck. So I wouldn't worry about that too much. That happens a lot. But it's neither here nor there, though. The USB-C port just may be going out on you. So yeah, that's what we would say to that one here. So let's turn that off here, and then turn that off as well. And we'll go ahead and close up group 1. That is, oh, it is 5. Okay. I was like, man, that's like 4. Okay, yeah, that was 5. Alrighty, cool. So let's go ahead and go to our next one here. And let me get a swig while we wait. All right. Dramatic quality. Grandma's phone just started downloading TikTok without her permission. Are you sure it was without her permission? This legit just happened. I just walked into the room and she was fussing with her phone. So I asked what was up and she goes, well, what's going on? And scrolled the menu down on her phone and it's showing that TikTok is downloading. She said her phone started vibrating. So she looked and it was already downloading. Has this ever happened to anybody else? She has a Samsung phone and she doesn't know which one. um no, nope, not really. Nope, not really. It's possible she may have downloaded it on accident, or it may have been but downloaded, but it shouldn't be much of a problem. Just cancel the download and call it a day. She also could have legit tried to download it and noticed you were coming her way and got embarrassed. So a few ways you can play it. But I wouldn't worry too much. Yeah, I don't know about that one. If we're talking about your grandmother, and you know, if that's what happened, it's a possibility that she may have really tried to download it, but didn't, or saw you and then got a little embarrassed. That could be something. Or she could have maybe just did it on accident. Maybe she tried to download something else and that's what pulled up and it started downloading and she didn't know, and she kind of panicked. that's a possibility, but you know, it's not that big a deal. Just cancel the download and just continue on with your business. But yeah, I mean, without knowing the whole situation, that's what I would imagine. But yeah, if you're asking me, has anyone had this happen before? No, that generally doesn't happen. TikTok is not an application that downloads on its own. Now, it's a possibility, like if there ever comes out like a Facebook phone that would download on its own, but typically it doesn't download on its own. So yeah, you know, I wouldn't worry about it too much, bro. Alrighty, Elite Series 2 core controller quality issues, which is why do I never have the right controller? It's the white and black version of this guy, but it's in the other room. So, and I'm not getting up anymore. I'm tired of that. So, video explanation of video. Has anyone who purchased the core metal of the Elite Series 2 found any quality control issues? Okay. Oh wow, that's really small. Can y'all see that? Y'all can see that. Oh, I'm stupid. I'm sorry.
So, Xbox core controller, moving forward on the thumbstick. Hear that click? Now this one. Okay. Anytime I try to move to
it has
either
drift.
any diagonal direction. So that sound there is just the actual housing of the stick, like down through here. It's just it bottoming out, and then there's a click. Like you have to push. You got to put. Feels like 10 pounds of pressure on it. Whereas this one, right away. This one. So there's a click. Same with this direction. Bottoms out. And then nobody sprints going backwards. Excuse me. So that's not, it's funny enough because actually, even like oh no, it doesn't do it there. So it's all on like that side, yeah. Okay, anything in the diagonal, not this one, good. It's like if I could somehow take this thumbstick, remove this one, and put it into this one, I'd actually, because yeah, like that is a satisfying, nice click. It's the same here. These thumbsticks they're horrible.
Okay, so it appears that his other controller has that issue as well. I don't want to talk because I can see that he's talking.
It doesn't click. Anyway, if anybody else has experienced this, I'd like to know what you did. This is the second controller I've gotten, and I really don't want to have to get another one, but I think I will. I'm going to return this one because for 100 and
okay. I didn't think I would need to go get it, but apparently I do. Give me 1 second here. It's just in the other room, so only take 1 quick second. Okay, I didn't think I would need it, but apparently I did. So, I also got my headset, so I know what he's talking about. What was he saying?
It's like if I could somehow take this thumbstick, remove this one, and put it into this one, I'd actually, because yeah, like that is a satisfying, nice click. It's the same here. These thumbsticks they're horrible.
Okay. All right, so he's talking about the thumbsticks and the thumbsticks being bad. All right, so let's try. All right, so we have the Elite Series 2 right here. Let's hear what they sound like here. Okay, that was the Elite Series 2. This is the original Elite. Okay. Sounds the same to me, but All right. And this is the Xbox controller that came with the Xbox Series X. Is this equivalent to what he was just testing with? Okay. So my personal opinion, okay, so the regular Xbox controller feels a tad bit better than the Elite and the Core, but I think that's only because the controller is newer. But they all feel around the same. And they all have the same level of grip. They all feel just fine. Like, let me hear how his sounded.
Either any diagonal direction. So that sound there. Okay. Anytime I try to move to either any diagonal direction. So that sound there is just the actual housing of the stick, like down through here. It's just it bottoming out, and then there's a click. Like you have to push. You got to put, feels like 10 pounds of pressure on it. Whereas this one, right away. This one. So there's a click. Same with this direction. Bottoms out. And then nobody sprints going backwards. Excuse me.
Oh, okay. I see what he's talking about. He's talking about how quick they bottom out. And they do. Okay. Wow, the fact that he notices it is kind of interesting, because yes, the Elite and the Elite and the Core, both of these guys here, they both do the exact same thing. So they bottom out with a little bit more force than the original Xbox controller. Like the Xbox controller, I can make it bottom out with my pinky, but with these here, it's a little bit harder. You have to add a little bit more pressure to it, but all of the Elite controllers are like that. So yeah, they feel, it feels exactly like the regular Elite controller. So yeah, it appears that these guys here have a little bit more pressure to them. I guess they were trying to make them a little sturdier, but that's what I've noticed here. Okay, so we tested this in stream, in our live stream. In our live stream, we have the Core 2, the original, it's Elite. The Elite 2, the original Elite, and a brand new Xbox controller that came with the X1 X Xbox. Is that how people pronounce it these days? Xbox. We'll just call it Series X. Series X. Because there's also the 1X. So yeah, no, I think it's just called the Xbox Series X, or SXX, I think is what it is, but whatever. So our findings were the housing of the Elites are identical, at least to sound and feel. However, the Xbox controller is a bit lighter on the press. For example, I can push down the sticks with my pinky on the Elite, the console, the regular controller, but it's more of a pain when I do so on the Elites. I'm guessing they just tried to make the housing more sturdy, and as a result, the pressure required has been increased. That's what I would say to that, because we tested the Elite the Elite 2 and the regular Xbox controller, and it really just feels like the housing is a little sturdier, but that's not necessarily a bad thing, you know, unless of course you have to use that button a lot. But they don't feel like it's just that bad. Like for example, 5 pounds versus 10 pound of pressure. You see what I'm saying? It's not really, if you normally work out with 80 pounds of pressure, you're not going to notice much of a difference. You see what I'm saying? So the fact that he notices is kind of interesting. He may have thumb issues, like for example, I have some torn ligaments in my thumb, so that may have a little bit to do with it. But for me, they all feel around the same and around the same amount of pressure. But yes, the elites do feel like they require a little bit more pressure. So yeah, we'll just go ahead and let him know that and let him know our findings, and we just go from there. Okay, that was an interesting one. That's new. Alrighty, so let's go. Ooh. So this is a Milo 12 build. I've never heard of a Milo before. Oh, okay. Well, that's interesting. It's built like, well, I guess it's kind of its own thing because it's pretty long for it to be able to have an SFX power supply with all those cables, as well as the motherboard here with a Noctua, which looks like 120 normal size fan. It's not a slim, it doesn't look like. And then it also have room for another fan right here. And then I'm guessing on the opposite side is the GPU. Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, and on the opposite side is the GPU. That is a pretty tanky build. What is this? Milo 12 build. Okay, one, I don't like the cooling. I don't. I wonder if the other side is also like that. When it was showing the GPU, I think it showed it with the cooling turned off, or the cooling off of it. But I do like that you have easy access to the NVMe on the back of the motherboard. That is freaking amazing. I wish more manufacturers did that, because sometimes you may need to change that guy out, and having to remove it from the motherboard is always a pain. So the fact that it's set up that way is pretty sweet. But the fact that this can fit this card is also pretty sweet. So it has a lot of good stuff going for it, but the heat dissipation is going to be what I would be worried about the most. Milo 12. All right, here we go. Slim, compact, mini ITX, and oh yeah, see, it's a chunky boy. Is that a CD-ROM drive? That is a slim CD-ROM drive. Man, this guy is super old. ATX to SFX adapter bracket included, 9.5 millimeter slim optical disk drive. Wow, people still call it that. Okay, that's what that stands for. If anybody else is, you know, younger than 30, can be installed when using an SFX PSU. CPU cooler opening on motherboard backplate for convenient assembly and upgrade. Supports 3-slot graphics cards up to 345 millimeters. Wow, so you mean to tell me I can put my my 4090 in here? But okay, cool. So if you look there, so there is just a round of my mind just went blank. I'm so sorry. What is it called? It's not noise dampening foam, but it's dust filters. So it does like has a round of dust filters, but it looks like they're removable just from looking at this picture here. It looks like there's a pretty good shot that you might be able to remove those dust filters. I would probably remove the one from the GPU, because I don't want to do anything that will strangle the cooling of the GPU, even though it's still pretty sweet that you get a fan here. But 9 times out of 10, you're not going to be able to use that fan if you're using a 345 millimeter graphics card. There is no fan that's going to be able to fit right there. So, but I do like how it allows for optimal airflow. Even some stuff towards the bottom here, you might be able to put some fans in, but at the same time, you know, it won't actually get to the GPU. The GPU is kind of up here, but you might be able to put some fans towards the top as well if the graphics card is not interfering. So you might be able to do that too, and try to get some more heat exhausted out of the graphics card by putting some small fans at the top, a la Century 2.0 or something along those lines. So there, that is pretty sweet. Let me see here. Yeah, 345 millimeter. Great component compatibility. Okay, well, originally I was ragging on it because it had an optical disk drive, but this is pretty sweet, because I don't even know if there were 3-slot GPUs back then when optical disk drives were a thing. So it's very versatile. So you can go SFX or you can go SFXL. And then with an included, Okay, supports ATX form factor PSUs up to 160 millimeters. I just noticed that, as well as SFX and SFXL. That is crazy. So you can have a full-size ATX power supply. This guy must be a beast. What are the dimensions? Style 1 and then style 2. Thoughtful design. It's pretty thoughtful. Okay, includes USB Type C ×1, USB 3.1, and a Type A combo audio jack. And it can go vertical or horizontal. Okay, well, USB 3 Type A, USB-C X1. Well, now, this is actually pretty interesting. This is from Silverstone. So they're the ones with the Raven and the SG08. So they definitely know how to make their ITX cases, but I didn't know this one was around. This is not bad. It's not bad at all. This is actually pretty good. So yeah, all right. Well, good for Silverstone. Yeah, I checked this guy out. This is kind of sweet. It's definitely smaller than the one we just looked at, for sure. Okay, well, Milo 12, that's a thing. All right, so let's go ahead and go to our next one here. Alrighty. It's sort of a weird question, but which one of those 5 laptops should I go with? Okay. Okay, I don't know what these are going to be, so I apologize if they're bad. Okay. The Acer Concept D 3 Easel convertible creator laptop. This guy here I know about. It folds all the way flat. So yeah, it can be flush like that, and you can use it to write on. However, it also blocks the keyboards and disables the keyboards whenever you do so. And the pen is not ideal. It's a much smaller pen here, but it looks like it is pretty high end for the actual pen. It's a Wacom AES 1.0 pen, so that should be okay. Now let's see what he's trying to do. Okay, so this is a Lenovo Flex. The Lenovo Flex also does have, I think well, okay, maybe I'm thinking about the Yoga that also comes with pen support. This guy doesn't really say so, nor did it actually show that it comes with a pen, but that is something to take note of. So this is 1,000. What was the other one? How much was the other one? 1269. Okay. 3. The Lenovo Idea Pad. Is this okay? I was checking to see if the URL had a referral code. I was like, man, is this a referral? Is he trying? Are we getting taken for a ride here? No. So yeah. So this one, okay. So this is the kind of pen that I like. The ones that are a little bit chunkier because it's a little bit easier to write with. So the IdeaPad Flex, and then what are his other options? 4.5. Okay, bro, come on now. Okay, then the newest Flex, which is a little bit cheaper, but the resolution looks to be a little bit weaker. And it's the 5500U, and the other ones actually had an internal GPU. This one did not, but the first one he gave us did. It actually had a GTX 1650 Max Q. And this one here had a GeForce MX 450. Okay. 4.5. All right, this man is really going into it. Ryzen 7 5800H. So this also doesn't have an internal GPU, but it's a VivoBook, so you know that's a thing. It's Asus. And then the last one here. What? Okay, so it's the last choice because it's cheaper. And it also doesn't have an internal graphics card. It also uses AMD Radeon graphics, but that's because it's a Ryzen 5 5500U. So a little bit of a summary. My budget is $1,200. I love 2-in-1 laptops. I like only new. My main uses are just studying and hobbies such as browsing, reading, watching movies, and translating shows. I won't do gaming. Maybe I'd play a game of League of Legends once in a year, but it's definitely not on my main uses. Much thanks in advance. Well, the first one the last one you gave us was so cheap, it's hard for us to say no to that. because you don't really use it for anything special. And it's full HD, so it's 1080p. He probably won't even notice it because of how small the screen is. And these guys here are 2.8K OLED. And this one also is full HD. This one's full HD IPS. And this one is 1 terabyte, blah, 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 16 gigs. This is 4K. And this one here is full HD. So most of them are 1080p except for this one here. This one here is 4K, but you probably are not going to run at that setting because with a screen size that small, 9 times out of 10, you're going to have it increased by 150% or 200%, which means that it's no longer 4K at that point. It's just 2K at that. It's just 2K with magnification, or 4K with magnification, which is 2K. So yeah, I mean, you know, maybe I'd play a game of League of Legends, but it's definitely not on my main uses. Thanks much in advance. Yeah, if full HD 1080p works for you, then I would just choose the cheapest option because it's hard to justify a price point that is half of the most expensive one. Plus, you don't game, so an internal separate GPU is not needed, eliminating some of the higher end competitors. I'm surprised he didn't say Surface. What's his issue with the Surface? The Surface would have done the same thing. Surface. Okay, one, the price point is a little bit too high. So, okay, yeah, the price point. That's probably why. Plus, you don't game, so an internal separate GPU. Okay, I can't spell separate either. GPU is not needed, eliminating some of the higher end components. Then I would say just choose the cheapest option because it's hard to justify a price point that is half of the most expensive one. Plus, you don't game, so an internal separate GPU is not needed, eliminating some of the higher end competitors. Now, with that smaller one there, that's $599. It has 512 gigs of storage, or 512 gigabytes of storage. I wonder if it's you know how when the Surface came out, the Surface Go, it wasn't an SSD, it was like NAND flash or something. Okay, so this one, it does have an SSD. Okay, cool. So it comes with an SSD and it's only $599, and the most expensive one is $1,200, and this is 16 gigs. I think this is probably more than so fine for him and what he's needing it for his day-to-day life. This should work just fine, and it's full HD and it's a 14-inch laptop, but he's probably going to be running at that resolution anyway, if not 2K if he tried one of these 4K ones. Like, he's not missing a whole lot here. Like, this guy here is nicer. I mean, it looks nicer, it looks a little bit neater, but you know, that's whatever. And then this one here has a 1 terabyte SSD, but I don't really think he's going to utilize this SSD to the fullest anyway. And then all these other ones had graphics cards. So yeah, that's what I would say for this one. Wow, that was long. But yeah, that'll point him in the right direction. He doesn't play video games, so it's not a big deal for him to have an internal GPU. So yeah, just pick whatever's cheapest, bro. As long as it has all the features that you need and full HD works for you, then the cheapest will be okay. Alrighty, PC making loud noises at startup, CPU overheating. Okay, cool. Let's take a look. Bum. Okay, let's take a look here. All right. My boyfriend's PC has been making this awful loud noise at startup and continues to have a much quieter rumble while on. I had him download Specky, and his temperatures are anywhere between 80 degrees Celsius and 100 when idle. All their temps are good. I did take it apart clean it and change the thermal paste for the CPU. He has an AIO liquid cooling system. Anyone have any clue what the issue could be? I will say it had shut down completely after startup a few times, and he has experienced stuttering before. We checked the temps and decided it's probably best not to play right now. Yeah, it sounds like the AIO cooler is having problems moving water, i.e., the pump may have gone out. The pump may have gone out, thus the high temperatures. I wonder if anybody else at the pump is causing the noise, and the PCU CPU fan is overheating. In this case, it's the AIO fan. I'm sorry, but 100 at idle. What CPU and cooler do you have? Blah blah blah, blah blah blah. Yeah, AIO pump. Spinning correctly in the AIO pump. Yep. That's what I would have said too. So yeah, it sounds like the AIO cooler is having problems moving water, i.e. the pump may have gone out, thus the high temperatures. But yeah, that sound there that you're hearing, that's usually the sound of when the pump starts to go out, because I run into that problem a lot. Whenever I had, it was like a cracking after over time of pushing water, it starts to make that sound like the pump is trying to work, but it can't. So it's just going kind of thing. And then it gets quieter whenever it's not being utilized or when it's idle. But if your temperatures are 80 to 100 degrees, it lets you know that it's going to be the AIO, which is what you need to swap out on this one here. But it appears that other colleagues have also replied to this. So I just thought it would be kind of interesting because it was a picture. And I was like, okay, it's a video. Let me go ahead and click on it. But we didn't really need to comment here. Most people probably figured it out that it's going to be the AIO. All right, let's go ahead and go to the next one here. Get a drink here. Okay. This is from Two Shoes. Two Shoes writes, okay, this is a repeat. A lot of Xbox services are horrendous right now. Does anybody know if there's a specific root cause for the issues that have appeared? Could you be more specific? Is there a particular issue you are facing? Clips and screenshots aren't functioning properly. Some games aren't accessible. Remote play is laggy. Basically what I said. Servers are bad right now. That. Okay. It can't be just us talking. A lot of people in several different countries have had 100% packet loss. Are not functioning. Some games are not accessible. Remote play is laggy. Okay. I've been getting some horrendous download speeds. I may be encountering similar problems. I lost all my progress in Battlefront 2 when I re-downloaded a couple days. Okay. Particular issue that you're facing. Okay. Well, there were so many issues listed in this chat. It's difficult to ascertain which one is causing the biggest headache, but I can run through them rapid fire style. Clips and screenshots aren't functioning properly. Okay. Some games are not accessible. Games not accessible. Do you mean games in your library or games you are trying to download? Remote play is laggy. Remote play is based off your network connectivity. So if there is some lag, you may experience that as well. You can try to change your region in the Xbox system settings to see if that addresses the issue. Okay, and then what's the rest of what he said? Horrendous download speeds. Similar problems. Battlefront 2 when I re-downloaded a couple games. Okay, yeah. Games not accessible. Okay, well, I mean, I was able to download. What did we download for somebody when we were troubleshooting their issue? Oh, Sea of Thieves. So we were able to download Sea of Thieves relatively fine. It was still pretty slow, but I guess the server location may make a difference in different countries. Okay, a lot of people in several different countries. Let me go back to this one here. You can change your region in Xbox system settings to see if that addresses the issue, as this should connect you to a different server, but you may need to change back if you pay for games via PayPal. All right. So that's what I would say for just kind of rapid fire the situation is that, you know, if we're talking about games not accessible, do you mean games in your library or games you're trying to download? And then you said remote play is based on your network connectivity. So if there is some lag, you may experience that as well. You can try to change your region in the Xbox system settings to see if that addresses the issue, as this should connect you to a different server, but you may need to change back if you pay for games via PayPal. We learned this from another person who was having an Xbox issue with PayPal where it locked his region. And his PayPal account was in America, but he was in like Thailand. And so we were trying to get him to change it to a location who is more similar to his situation, which would be Singapore if he's in Thailand, because Singapore or the Philippines. The Philippines also drive on the right side of the road, and they have a lot of English is a native language for the Philippines. It's a normal language. Most people know how to speak it. So it's a possibility that if you switch it to something like the Philippines, then there's a pretty good chance that you may actually get that to work, but neither here nor there. But that's where we got that information from. We had a person who was having this problem with his PayPal account, and we were having him swap from Philippines to Singapore to see if that made a difference. So yeah, just, you know, rapid firing some issues, but it seems like they just want to vent here. So I don't think I'm gonna come back to this because it just sounds like this man wants to just yell. So we'll just let him do his yelling and keep us out of it. All right, let's go ahead and go to the next one here. See, I had my headset and then I left it in the other room, and now I need it for just about every video we've seen today. So let me turn this back on here. Come on. Any day now. All right, there we go. Is there a safe temperature in the long run? I got no PC money to spend right now. Sure. Well, that's a hard L. But I mean, your CPU and GPU, your CPU, your GPU looks fine. Your CPU is a little high, but it depends on what processor we're talking about. Well, your CPU is a bit high. GPU looks good. Is this a Ryzen or an older CPU? May be better off reapplying the thermal paste and blowing out the fan cooler. So yeah, so his CPU temperatures are a little bit high. Not necessarily a little bit high, but a little bit high. I think my opinion of what is hot nowadays has changed due to the newer Ryzen series CPUs. So for them, 88 is pretty normal, you know, and they can go all the way up to 95, and they're meant to go somewhere between 88 to 95, depending on which processor we're talking about. So because of that, that skewed people's beliefs of what hot actually is. But 88 is still pretty hot for a CPU while playing video games. You know, you can't really do a whole lot there, but I would make sure that the fans that are connected to the CPU cooler have good airflow and are blown out is how I would handle that situation. So if you have some dust blower, go ahead and blow that guy out just to make sure that there's nothing interfering and the fins can actually get proper cooling going through them. Alrighty, Alioi or Alioi, whatever. I hope that helps. But yeah, what I already had quite a few comments on it. This is the CPU is thermal throttling. Do you have good airflow? It was thermal throttling. You got that from this? Okay, I thought that this was his utilization. I don't know if it's thermal throttling, but I mean, it looks okay. I can't really tell. Those icons are really, really small, but this looks to be okay. Oh, I'm sorry. I had it on the wrong one. When did I change that? I don't remember. Here, let me go back. Make sure everybody heard. Yeah, no. It should have been fine. It should have been fine because I pretty much talked about everything that I was doing as I was doing it. So it should be all right. I'm not too worried about it. Okay, so yeah, that guy just wanted to vent. And then this one here, it looks like the CPU is high. And okay, so this is going to be the Loc raw with modded top. So it looks like you made some changes to the Loc. And so the Loc, this right here is usually not there. And it usually just gets air from the surrounding area here. Oh, sweet. So now he has an actual fan that's actually blowing heat out of the case. That's pretty sweet. How's this mod? Do you plan to sell the tops? I really want one for my case. Yeah, that's pretty sweet, bro. Like, holy crap. So if we look at the Loc, raw S1. So I wish it would show us the top. Here, let's go to images. Raw S1. Okay. So yeah, but the top is actually closed off, and and basically those slits is how it's getting its airflow. But I never was a fan of the slits themselves. It felt like it would suffocate some of the components. So yeah, having that heat for the exhaust is actually a really good idea for this kind of a build. So yeah, I mean, yeah, I would he should really sell that because that would be extremely useful for a lot of people. This would be extremely useful for several people. Is there a pre-order page? LOL. I don't have plans unless I get something like 50 plus orders. I recommend searching for local CNC shops and seeing if they can do the job for you. I was able to give this file to a shop near me, which they use to cut the plate. Oh, sweet. Okay, well, that's good to know. So if anybody else wants to do that, he just gave away his secret. But you know, I mean, if he had multiple orders, I get you. But there was only 43 comments, so yeah, he wasn't there. Alrighty, let's go ahead and go to the next one though. Pretty build though. I like that you have that exhaust. That's very, very useful for that particular build. All right, back to Xbox. A lot of Xbox services are horrendous right now. Oh no, we were just talking about that. So that's the different one. Oh, I guess because multiple people replied to me. Xbox Series X controller getting stuck. I just bought a Series X a few months ago. I've noticed that both X buttons on both of my Series X controllers are now stuck. I've tried taking them apart and cleaning them with a Q-tip and rubbing alcohol, and it works for about 10 minutes before getting stuck again. Is anyone else dealing with this issue? And if so, does anyone have a solution? We talked about this. Which button is stuck? Is it the same button for both? Do you eat and play video games at the same time? Are they sticky? It's the X button on both, and I absolutely keep food away from my controllers. My partner and I are both incredibly careful around our consoles of how expensive they are. Quality is crap on a portion of the controllers, has been for years. It's a lottery, hence why you'll see responses here from both sides, either never getting an issue or repeatedly seeing them. I bought an Elite 2 with a new Xbox Series X and bought it, and the SSX controller had sticks misfiring buttons out of the box, both returned same day. I don't think there's anything else I can say to this. Okay. Well, the 3 controllers I've tested all seem to be fine, but I don't know, I don't know every single controller that people get. So there's not a whole lot more to add to this here. Not a whole lot more to add to this. It sounds like you more than likely have some faulty controllers. So yeah, I'll agree and say that this is more than likely going to be faulty controllers here, or if something is up with them and you've had them for a really long time, that may be a possibility. But there's not anything anyone can do at this point, because those buttons there. You can try to take it apart, but I wouldn't recommend it. It's kind of a pain. Or you can try to get them repaired, which I wouldn't recommend. It's kind of a pain. Or you can just kind of replace them. So, and if you start to have issues, after the first week or so after replacing them, then I would go ahead and just straight up return them. Okay, so that's group 3. Let's go ahead and go to group 4 and get a swig here. Okay, 834. It's not too bad. Alrighty, random black screen while gaming, about to throw PC out the window. I remember this. This person was getting black screen here and several different games: Modern Warfare 2, Red Dead Redemption 2, Fortnite, so on and so forth. And they tried display driver uninstaller, so on and so forth. And we've been talking back and forth here about different power supplies. He's basically tried to fix this by doing a lot of different things. And okay, so he just has extenders. Okay. And basically we came down to the power supply, and he was thinking about going with the HX1200, and we've been talking back and forth. And he said, oh, mine are just extenders, so I think there will be no issues. Check out my latest post. It is under my PC Master Race. I think I might have found the culprit. It is probably HyperX headset. The headset? All right, challenge accepted. How do I diagnose a kernel 41? This was 1 day ago. This was 10 hours ago. The drivers were installed automatically for me when I plugged it in originally with the USB dongle. Okay, mine has no drivers. Now I'm trying to play without them plugged in. I'll see how it goes. I'm also on default settings for the CPU and XMP still enabled. Mine is cable too. What I mean with the dongle was this little USB controller thing had some controls on it to mute the headset and stuff. Looks like this. The drivers were installed automatically for me when I plugged it in originally with that USB dongle. Let's see. Oh, okay. But his screen was random black screen. Why would that cause a black screen? About to throw PC out the window. Mine are cabled. I guess that is not my issue. By the way, every driver chipset was already downloaded from MSI website. By the way, I never installed any driver for my headset. You should find your exact blah blah blah. I think he's talking about just it being a headset issue. Probably the HyperX headset. Headset causing a black screen. That would be interesting if you had said it caused muted audio. That would be a bit different, but let us know if removing the headset fixes the issue. Okay, so I have had this happen before with the Yeti control panel drivers. So on the Yeti Pro, you can download essentially some software that allows you to use the Yeti, but the software is super old. And when I ran the software, sometimes it would have issues with the keyboard and mouse from Razer that I had at the time, and it caused me to have to remove the actual software because it would actually cause a blue screen of death. So there have been situations where I've run into where the software is so buggy that it causes the entire computer to crash. But this man here was getting black screens in video games. Since I built my computer about a year ago, I've been experiencing this issue. It happens only when gaming, not when alt tabbing. A scratching noise comes over the speakers, every LED. Okay, so this is the scratching noise, but this is the same thing I did for now. Tried multiple. My screen goes black and wouldn't come back. So this right here is the part that I was actually troubleshooting. The scratching noise I was treating separately. But yeah, it may fix the scratching issue, but I'm not sure if it'll fix the black screen, which is what I was troubleshooting. So that's what we'll say to that one here. But it'll be interesting to see what he's talking about. But it may actually fix the scratching issue, sure. But not the black screen. Alrighty. Okay, yeah, that's what he just gave us, the link to his profile. All right. So this was back to the Sea of Thieves thing, and it wasn't downloading successfully, and we ended up downloading Sea of Thieves on our Xbox and saw that it worked just fine. Alrighty, we are currently testing this as well and downloading Sea of Thieves. I will let you know what our findings are when it completes. Okay, so we were downloading at around 75% of the Xbox Series X, no longer recognized the controller and went into sleep mode. We checked back on it later as we were doing a 2-hour live stream and had to reboot the Xbox and resync the controller. However, after the reboot, the game was loaded to our hard drive. So for this one, if it's failing to install, then go ahead and start the install at around 60% or so. Just check on it to make sure the console does not go to sleep and be around when a 90s to ensure it finishes. I have all the space in the world, way more than enough. I've installed it with my Xbox on all day and it just doesn't install. I don't have the best Wi-Fi as I do live with my 4 brothers all on the Wi-Fi at the same time, so I can sit there and watch the update because the update on a good day takes about 11 hours to finish. So I've made it where my Xbox won't go to rest mode, but that still doesn't work. It's been like this for about a year and a half and it's only this game. Well, if that's the case, move your Xbox next to the router and hook up directly to see if it makes a difference. People have been reporting network connectivity issues with the Xbox servers in different countries, but I doubt that issue has been going on for as long as yours has. So yeah, I don't think that the people who have been reporting network connectivity issues has been going on for as long as his is, because he's had this issue for over a year and a half. So yeah, I would say just take his Xbox down to where his router is and plug in directly to see if that makes a difference for him. In that case, move your Xbox and router and hook up directly to see if it makes a difference. Yeah. So that's what I would say to this one. One Punch Rubs. That's like ICUP. ICUP. Spell ICUP, ICUP. That's exactly what that is. One Punch, man. Jesus, man. Jesus. Okay. So go ahead and try that and let us know how it works. Sad retirement of H1 and SFF for now. Yeah, it looks like his new graphics card is way too freaking big. Yeah, he got a 4080 or 4090. That's a big boy. Yep, that's a big boy. That's a big one. Right there. Yep, that's a big one right there. There we go. That sounds like I'm from Texas. The Proto L moved as well. So yeah, some of these can fit, but specifically just, Mesh Delicious, NR200, stuff like that. The bigger cases, Mesh Delicious and Mushroom S would allow to run a 3073 max height on CPU and cooler. Maybe we should let him know. Maybe we should let him know. The Mash Alicious and the Jonesbow VR3, which is the case we just reviewed earlier in this stream, should be able to accommodate that guy. The Jonesbow more so than the Mashalicious, because you would have to flip the PC upside down as the cables would be sticking out. Okay, the Meshalicious and the Jonesbow VR3 should be able to accommodate that guy. The Jonesbow more so than the Meshalicious, because you would have to flip the PC upside down as the cables would be sticking out. Okay, there may be some misspelt words, but I'm not too worried about it. All right, let's go ahead and go to the next one here. Alrighty, so this is another Xbox Series X. Some games not reading at all. So this is the guy with the Dark Souls and only Dark Souls 3 play, but not Dark Souls 1 and 2. Granted, I think Dark Souls 3 is probably one of the best games of the series of the three. I mean, obviously it's not on the same level as Elden Ring, but yeah. Did you just buy this? How about returning it and getting a replacement used copy, citing you had issues running the other 2 Blu-ray discs on your Xbox Series X, or is it outside of the return policy? I bought it from an individual on Markarai, and then I said, okay, gotcha, let us know how it works. And he said, but I figured I'd have my local game store test the games for me, and if they worked for them, I'd just sell all the copies I don't want and buy the new two separate games individually. Now, it's weird on Markarai. Once you open the package, you basically have to accept. Can't send it back now. Besides, he only had 1 copy. It's kind of like eBay, and none of the game stores I took it to would test my games. So I guess I'll never know. But I bought Dark Souls 1 Remastered today again, and the disc won't work either. This is the only game series I've had problems with. All my other games run perfectly fine. I don't quite understand it. I'm able to just sell them all and buy them digitally. Yeah, digital would be the way to go from now on, just in case your disc bay is on its way out the door. Yeah, so just in case his disc or his disc bay for his Blu-ray discs are on their way out, in other words, they're getting ready to go out, then he may want to just start downloading all his games digitally to try to help out his Xbox and prolong the eventual hardware failure. So yeah, that's what I would say for that one. So Federal, keep us posted. Alrighty, so this next one here is games crashing for no discernible reason. For quite a while now, I've come across several games that close on to desktop after a few minutes. I can launch them and interact with them on the menus. And he was talking about Hogwarts Legacy and Dark and Darker. And we talked back and forth about this. And then I had said, well, we just learned a few things about Hogwarts Legacy. Real quick, how much memory do you have? It appears Hogwarts Legacy eats memory in the tune of 8 to 20 gigs, depending on your resolution and settings. I actually did end up making a video about this. It is on the channel. And he said, I have 64 gigs of RAM and near a terabyte of storage. However, as mentioned, it's not only Hogwarts Legacy that's been giving me an issue, but smaller, less demanding games as well. I did come to the decision to bring it into Micro Center to have them take a look at it. And if they can't figure it out, I'll just start replacing hardware, starting with the motherboard. Gotcha. Keep us posted. The Hogwarts Legacy issue was brand new. So even though you mentioned dark and darker in posts, I figured you would more so be playing Hogwarts as it's the newer game. But sure, let us know how it goes. Gotcha. Keep us posted. The Hogwarts Legacy issue was brand new, so even though you mentioned Dark and Darker and post, I figured you would more so be playing Hogwarts as it's the newer game. But sure, let us know how it goes. There we go. So yeah, that's what I would say to this. Just let us know. But it appears that other people are also giving their opinion as well. But yeah, we'll just go ahead and give it some time there and see exactly what happens whenever he gets it back from Micro Center. Alrighty, we'll do group 5 and then we'll call it because it's Valentine's Day and I have some stuff to do. It has nothing to do with Valentine's Day though, ironically. It mostly has something to do with work. Alright, so we'll just go ahead and finish this group 5 here and we'll call it, and we'll pick up group 6 tomorrow. GPU making a grinding snoring sound. Oh, I remember this. So we were talking back and forth here, and we told him exactly what was happening here. So the reason why his computer was making that grinding sound was because it sounds like ball bearings were grinding against each other. So there's no lubricant between the ball bearings, and that is on fans as well as yo-yos, which is what I remembered it from. I remembered it from my yo-yo, not necessarily from a fan. Thank you for assisting me. A few years, I had plenty of time with the current GPU. I can get a new one within a year or so. Sweet. Alrighty, bro. I'm glad we were able to come to a conclusion on that. I tried to make a win button, but as I tried to make the win button, it was time for me to stream again. That's the life of streaming every single day, or every single weekday. Alrighty, Mr. Poopy, my homie. I'm glad we were able to help you. So this is from Seek Soul. My first PlayStation console ever. It's time to say goodbye to the worn out X1X and finally jump into the next generation. Yo, that's pretty sick. That's pretty sick. Congratulations. Congrats, bro. Congrats, bro. And even got a disc version. Very pro. I couldn't get a disc version to save my life. And when the PS5 came out, I was in the line for 4.5 hours just to realize I was actually in the wrong line. There was a line in the front of the building and a line in the back of the building, and I was on the line in the front of the building, but they were actually doing the actual pre-orders. They were actually doing, where you kind of wait in line to get a PS5. They were actually doing that in the back of the store, because that's actually where the game's location was. It was actually towards the back of the store. I had no idea. It was my first time there. I should have just went to my own store that I'm very comfortable with, because they don't have a back exit. But apparently this particular Target that I went to had 2 entrances and not 1. So yeah, the fact that you were able to get one with a disc is pretty sweet. Alrighty. Is that Harry Potter a game a PS exclusive? No, it is super not. It is on everything, including the Switch. Alrighty, the smallest RTX 4090 build, 6.9 milliliters. Yeah, we talked about this with that particular graphics card. I couldn't find this to save my life. I've seen prints of it, but the fact that he found one in a blower style for a 4090 is freaking insane. I would pay so much money for this. Now, if they had this card for $19.99, I'd buy it no problem, because the chances of you getting a card this thin that could also handle a 4090 and cool it effectively. Now you may have to downclock it a little bit, but it's going to be a card that is going to be better than the XC3 3090, which is the best card that can fit in this particular case, not counting the 6900 XTX, which can also fit in this case. So between the 6900 XTX and the 3090, those are pretty much your strongest cards, and this guy here trumps both of them. So yeah, if you can get this guy, this would be so sweet, because it can fit in like 100 different builds. But to be fair, most people can't even get the Founders Edition. So if they can't even get the Founders Edition, they have no shot at getting this guy. So, there is that. I love the Century, but hated the wait. It made it a pain to travel with. Hopefully a new version comes out that isn't the cloned version from AliExpress, LOL. Can you post a link to where you got this or the store your friend bought this from? I'm booking my flight now. Your friend can make a good amount of change if he sold these on eBay. It can be quite heavy when fully loaded. Yes, it is. I've never traveled with my Century before, but I have taken my smaller 3.2 liter builds. It definitely helps to have less weight to carry around. Yep, there isn't a link or store. It was an individual seller from China that sold 1 unit to a colleague of mine due to an overorder of units for enterprise purposes. Let's hope this model or something similar becomes mainstream in the short term. Got it, bro. Yeah, I really do hope so, because it would be nice to put that in my Century. The fact that he's the only person in the whole world that has that particular graphics card and that particular case. That's pretty sweet. I'm sorry, but that's pretty sweet. So kudos to him that he was able to get that. Alrighty, playing Hogwarts Legacy the right way. All right, I'm down. Let's listen to it a little bit here. Hogwarts Legacy playing as Spider-Man in 4K 60. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that. Oh, why did I keep going back to that? I didn't mean to do that. Oh yeah, I was talking about the PlayStation. Oh wow, which means that all these other ones I hadn't even. Oh, never mind. Even in, let me check something. Oops, sorry. Yeah, even in chat mode, you could still see this. It's just a picture. Okay, yeah, they're just pictures. Okay. Okay, we didn't miss anything. I'm just making sure that I didn't miss any content. Okay, so Hogwarts Legacy playing the right way. Okay, sure, whatever. So let's go ahead and take a look here. If I can play it, that'd be great. Oh no, that's a picture. Why would you send somebody a picture? Oh, okay, so it's a meme. Okay. I'm sorry. I'm behind in times and apparently I'm old. Playing Hogwarts Legacy as Spider-Man, flying on a broom. Does he use his spider powers? Does he use his Spider-Man powers or a wand? No, Shrek broom, that's not the right way. That's not even funny. Let me just not say anything. If you don't have anything funny to say, don't say anything at all. I mean, Spider-Man on a broom, sure. You know, I guess that's kind of a thing that Spider-Man can do these days. And I think everybody else, all of their comments are gonna be corny. It's kind of hard to make a joke off of that one. So yeah, we'll just walk away quietly and leave this as a meme and just continue on. Happy Valentine's Day. Oh. Hey, yo, to be fair, the Hogwarts Legacy. Okay, sorry. I thought I heard some coal whine there, or it didn't sound like it came from my graphics card. It sounded like it came from somebody drilling in a wall. But yeah, I apologize. So okay, so that actually okay. When I first saw this and I just saw the Happy Valentine's Day, I just added it because I thought that this actually was Forspoken. I thought it was a gag gif, but then I saw that it's actually Hogwarts Legacy, which means that is one dope controller. So yeah, so that's actually pretty sweet. So. But Hogwarts Legacy is a one-player game, so you're gonna have a very, very broken up couple. So resale is already over 400. Unreal. Are you serious? Where is it that much? I see it on eBay for 200, which is still insane. Yeah, I was thinking whether to resell it, but it just looks too good to not play with it. Yeah, I noticed the same thing, and that's how I got 2 kids. Thank goodness. Dang, controller is sick. I love it. Yeah, that controller is super sick, bro. I didn't know that this was sold out. Limited edition DualSense. Oh man, I would so buy that. That is that's a clean looking controller, bro. Wow. Okay. We'll end it here, seeing the fact it's 9 o'clock and it is Valentine's for a lot of people. And we will pick back up tomorrow. Thank you guys so much for joining me here on this holiday. And if you like this video, go ahead and like button. If you really like it, go and subscribe. I love you either way. Take care. All the best and bye.